I just knew it wasn't meant for me.
Which of you have at least breastfed at least one of your children? Raise your hands.
I for 18 months, the first child.
Okay, so that's breastfeeding. Now, which of us have actually bottle fed at least one of our children?
The second child, I could not breastfeed.
All of us.
So, yeah.
All right. Okay. So from what I'm hearing from you, I had probably a very similar experience. But I'm gonna ask the big question though. What do you women feel is better, breastfeeding or bottle feeding?
I think both.
Okay.
And why I say is because there is a myth would say that if you breastfeed, then the immune system is pretty strong with the kids. Mm-hmm. But that's totally opposite with both my kids. My eldest, I breastfed for 18 months and he has a very low immune system. And the second one, I breastfed only for 2 months and he's a pretty healthy child.
Okay.
So it's, I don't know. The second child, it was more like he had acid reflux with my milk. So I could not breastfeed him. And the first child I breastfed for 18 months and yeah. But both are good kids.
Yes,
They're fine, they're healthy, but it's just how it was.
Yeah. What about you?
Well, I think scientifically they say breast is best.
Yes,
and
I know.
imagine if you didn't breastfeed him for 8 months, what would 18 months, right?
Yes.
What would his immune system look like? You don't know. You
Yeah,
you never
I
know.
know.
But breast is best. I will say that I didn't breastfeed for that long for various reasons. I was a busy working mother, and 6 months was the max of what I fed all my kids. And it was really, I struggled with it. Mm-hmm. It was like literally, I don't know if you guys felt this way, but I felt horrible and I felt guilty and I felt shame and I just felt like, well, my husband was married before and I'm like, why could she do it for like 2 years and I can't even do it for 6 months? So,
well, in my opinion, I feel like, in my opinion, I just feel like the most important thing is the child is getting fed and getting the nutrition that they need. And it also depends on the baby because there are some babies that don't react well to formula and you have to keep switching to different types of formula. And, maybe they are needing our milk. And then there's some babies that, women struggle and with breastfeeding and they're not producing enough milk to satisfy their baby's needs. So we have that option of bottle feeding. So I just feel like it always depends on the child and the situation.
But the breastfeeding also could be, you don't have to breastfeed to have the child. You could just pump and keep it and then still he's getting the breast milk.
Now with technology that allows you to
which was not there when my first child was born and he was born in India.
Yeah.
So pumping at that point of time wasn't that on over there. We couldn't even buy breast pumps over there.
Yeah.
There was no idea about the breast pumping. So that was the reason I could still feed and I was full-time working, but yes, it was hard.
The breast pumps are looking nicer these days. Have you seen them? Like you can wear them, it looks like they're like
very
rounded.
Incognito.
Yes. It's so crazy.
Yeah, I wish those were around because at the time when I breastfed my first child. I tried to breastfeed my second child, but ran into many challenges. And like you were mentioning, Maria, that you felt this guilt, right?
Yes.
My guilt was so bad because I could not figure out why it was not working with Lila that I got really bad postpartum depression. Like really bad. And I know that once I started talking about it and coming out and being very open, that this seems to be a theme that is shared by a lot of moms.
I had it too with my second child.
Yes. Yeah.
Because I could not do it and I felt
and you
that
feel like,
too.
like what's wrong with me?
Yes.
Like, why
I
is
could
this
do it
not
with
working?
one.
Like you were saying, and it's
Why
like,
can't and I was thinking, why can't I be like my mom and my husband's mom who
Yes.
didn't nurse at all? Like we came from a generation of women before us who
didn't.
Yeah,
my mom, exactly. My mother
Yes.
told me that when she was in the hospital and had me, the nurse didn't even give her the option to breastfeed. They just brought her a bottle and said, here you go. And that was it. So while I do appreciate this culture and push towards going back to something that's a little more organic and natural, right, and understanding some of the scientific benefits, I personally feel that breastfeeding isn't for everyone and that it should be up to a choice and should come down to the health. Is your child thriving, right? And what's best for mom, because with mom not having mental health, then the kid isn't going to be eating anyway. Right? And so you want to make sure mom is in her best place.
As it is, you are drained in energy when you give birth, right?
Yes.
And then having that
Yes, you are.
pressure. And for me, my second child was colic, so I did not sleep for the 8 months after he was born. And then he had acid reflux. So
And isn't that bad when they have colic? Because then you feel like it's really your fault because it's whatever you ate.
You're like, what I eat, what I do.
But then old women,
so bad.
and the old
broccoli.
women's tale, right?
Yeah.
They tell you don't eat all these food, and then you must not be sleeping, you must be drinking milk.
So much
and it's
expectation.
So this is very comfortable with us all talking about our experiences, right? And we all have very different experiences with multiple children. You know, some of us breastfed, some of us bottle fed. But what about the controversy, though, that's happening right now with a lot of women being shamed for bottle feeding? And there always seems to be that pressure. And I know you've all probably experienced it as well. The minute you have your baby, instantly they bring in the Leite group, they bring in the nurses saying, okay, let's get your child on. Right when your kid comes out.
I feel
your
that
kid
we're
latches
frowned
on.
upon because it's so much pressure when you go to your appointments. They're always asking you to fill out paperwork. How do you plan to feed your baby? And then there's people in the doctor's office trying to help you breastfeed. And, you know, I was the one who did not breastfeed my children. So I felt the most pressure. I just felt like, are they judging me because I'm not choosing to breastfeed my child? And
can I ask you?
Yes.
So when they gave you all that paperwork, were you saying it's my choice to not nurse?
You know,
I don't want to fill out this
really
paperwork,
felt
or did
like,
you try and then it just didn't happen?
You know, with my first one, I really felt pressured, and you know, I felt lucky that I had my mom with me because she said, you know, don't let them pressure you to do anything that you don't want to do or you're
great. You had
not
that support.
comfortable doing. Yeah, I was really thankful for that, but I did feel like, oh wow, they're really pushing hard. I almost felt offended, or like they were being really rude because they weren't respecting my decision. When I said no, that means no, but somebody else will come in. Are you sure this is what you want to do?
Actually, that did happen. I remember that.
And but the struggle I had with the most with bottle feeding is choosing the right bottle. If you ever go to the store, there's so many bottle
Nipples
options.
abound.
So many nipples. Is it
which one is your child gonna like?
Yes,
is it gonna give your kid
yes,
gas?
yes. So that was
There's
my
challenges in itself
I
with
feel
that.
like there's challenges with everything you do around feeding your child and making sure your child is getting the right nutrition and the right amount of formula and food.
And I think it's every child's experience is different.
Absolutely.
Even if you have 2 kids or 3 kids or 6 kids,
Yes.
every child you will say, oh no, I know it all. And by
That's
the time the
true.
second child comes, it's like, no, I don't know
I
it.
agree.
Yeah.
And then you have another, no, I
One
don't
child
know
likes
it.
this bottle, then the
Wait
next
a minute,
child
there
didn't
should
like
be a
that one.
formula to this, but
Yes.
there isn't.
There
Yeah,
isn't, yes.
each child's a little human being.
Yes.
So we can't talk about breastfeeding, though, without talking about public breastfeeding, which is the other very controversial part of breastfeeding your child. Do you feel that it's okay for a woman to just go ahead and expose herself in front of strangers to feed her child?
I personally, coming from an Asian background, I don't feel comfortable about it because, and now I think there is such cute cover-ups. So I think we could cover up and do it as well. So, I mean, we got it in baby shower. So they were like so super damn cute, but I don't want to judge, but at the same time, it depends on the situation as well.
I think,
if you're in a situation, the child is hungry, child is crying, you don't have an alternative, yes, I
You
don't
do
want
what you gotta do.
Yeah, you gotta do.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think that it's such a hot topic.
I know, it is.
But I will say this. I mean, it's all what you feel comfortable
Yes,
with.
at that
I
point,
personally am more conservative. We live in a highly sexualized culture, and these are, sexual parts of our body, even though it's made for our children to nurse from, right? So I personally, I cover up. And when people say, well, do you eat with, a curtain on? I'm
I've seen that.
no, I don't eat with my curtain on. But you know what? He's my child, and I'll say he because I have 3 sons. He can breathe. He's eating. He's fine. He's not making a disturbance anywhere. I just feel like do what you want to do, but just know that when being in any community environment, there's going to be consequences to whatever action you
Absolutely,
choose.
yes. And on the point too, though, about do you eat with a curtain on? I've also heard mothers that breastfeed in public that they actually prefer to have the curtain because sometimes the child doesn't pay attention.
Yes.
When you have the curtain on, they actually focus on eating opposed to trying to look around while having a snack. But at least that curtain allows the child to kind of have a little bit of quiet time as well, which helps them feed too. I agree about the cover-ups. There are so many darn stinking cute ones, and now they're built into your tops.
Yes, exactly.
Where it's like, why would you expose when you really don't have to? I think that, like you're saying, that we're a highly sexualized society, and if there's no need to make others around you feel uncomfortable without their choice, why would you do that?
And then touching on the attention topic, even when your kids, right now I have a 7-year-old who watches TV while eating, if he has to, then he stops eating. So that is an attention thing since the kids are born, right? So we do have all these distraction cut off so that they only focus on eating or something. It's the same way why we have to cover up, so because they don't get distracted and they're drinking milk, and that's why we switch off the TV, or they don't have the iPad so that they can concentrate on eating food.
I see both sides of your both of your opinions, but I also want to make a point to people that do expose themselves. I thought really hard about this question. Good. It's really, and I even called one of my friends because she is comfortable exposing herself. And we really dug deep into this, and we just came to the conclusion it's a lot, and it has to do with your upbringing. You know, her family is more comfortable with nudity, and my family is more like cover up, don't come out the shower unless you're in your bathrobe. And I feel like that kind of goes into how we think right now. Like if we, like for me, if I see somebody breastfeeding, I probably would just look the other way. I personally wouldn't do it because I feel like my body is just only seen for my husband and that's it. But my friend, on the other hand, she's more comfortable in her own skin, and she feel like it should be something that's natural, and her mom was like that, and she feels that they could just look the other way. If they don't want to see it, don't look. So I just feel like it's how you're brought up and how you're raised. And
I was going to say that in regards to community, because it always goes back to community, right? I mean, when I'm around my family, I whip it out. I mean, I'm around my girlfriends. My girlfriends, we can whip it out in front of each other because we're females, but I won't do that in a public situation. I don't know how people are going to take me. I know how I take myself. I don't know how you're going to take me.
I agree.
You may be confident in yourself, which is a beautiful thing, but not everybody views that as something that's acceptable.
See, I'm more raised like I won't even whip it out in front of my friends. I'm like, no. You're like, no. But I think it becomes so natural for moms to do it, because she even told me that she does it so much that she doesn't even realize she's doing it around other people.
She's even stopped down to become aware of the situation.
She just I need to feed my food.
What's up?
So I think that has a lot to play with it, and a lot to you really don't know what you would do if you're in this situation. You don't have a cover up. Your baby's crying. You're like, what do I do? You're not gonna go in the bathroom, sit on a dirty bathroom stall, and be trying to feed your baby in a nasty bathroom. You're going to go into a little quiet area. Hopefully no one walks past, and you're going to do what's best for your child.
I'm wondering, is it the nipple that's the issue, or the breast, or the nursing? Because
honestly,
it's just, to me, it's just the nipple. Like, you just see the baby, and there's that little bit of boob. Nobody has a problem with that. That's not nobody, but most people don't.
It's less offensive when you can't see the whole picture.
Yes.
But when there's an action already taking place and you understand what's taking place, it's fine. I think it's the visceral shock of all of a sudden just bam, and you're like, okay,
exactly.
This is how we all grew up, right? So that is how now we are talking about it. But like 10 years down the line, nobody talked about this, right?
Well,
so it's like so it's kind of good to have that conversation as well.
I want to go back to you, Ashley, really quick, because while we're talking about the breastfeeding in public, I want to kind of go back really quick though to the kind of the shaming with bottle feeding. Do we feel the pressure? Is it something that should stop? Because recently there's been a lot of celebrities that are coming out talking about how they felt pressure, that when they pull out a bottle in public, they feel like people are being shamed, or moms are looking at them and they're questioning, why is she doing that? Oh, she must have given up. You had 6 kids. You have 6 children. You said you bottle fed every single one of them. You've got to have had some kind of experience.
I feel like I was judged that, that was the perfect word. She's given up. I feel like people judge me as a quitter, or they would say, you didn't try hard enough. But I just knew it wasn't meant for me. I knew I was a working mom. I wasn't trying to pump and freeze milk and do all the extra stuff. It wasn't that I was being lazy or, couldn't handle it. It's just, this was my preference. I thought this would be easiest for the person who's caring for my child, and which was my mom. And she was comfortable with bottle feeding, so I wanted to satisfy everyone that was helping in the process of raising my child.
Yeah, it was a whole picture decision.
It was a bigger picture than just me.
Yeah, and see, and that highlights something that's so important too, and kind of a message I hope that we carry across today. There are no right answers, there are no wrong answers in what we're talking about. These are experiences that we're sharing in hopes of helping someone, but it's nice when we can bring awareness and highlight the fact that there's more to the situation than what you're observing in person. Whether someone decides to breastfeed in public, right, before you judge them and you're like, oh my gosh, you're so inappropriate and rude. You don't know what's happening. The same thing with someone deciding to bottle feed. Perhaps that mom couldn't. Maybe that mom had a challenge. Maybe there's a health issue involved. So perhaps being a little kinder in our judgment as parents, because it does take a village, darn it.
It
Quit
does.
being so hard on each other.
Like for me,
let's work together.
I had so much of milk and I could breastfeed, but my child had acid reflux with my milk.
Yes.
So I could not. And I'm not going to tell strangers, oh, the reason I'm bottle feeding is because he's allergic to my milk. So it's kind of, because people don't know about your situation and they want to judge you. That's how society is right now, right?
Unfortunately, it is.
And it's a lot of moms that are the ones doing the judging, which we should be supporting and uplifting one
But
another.
I honestly, I don't know what it is, but I just feel like we are supportive and uplifting. It's just those extremists that get onto your social media that talk the loudest, that people carry their news stories
There's safety
with.
behind a veil, right?
Yes.
When no one can see your
But I
face.
think that generally, I think that we are compassionate to each other.
I just feel
think
like
so, generally.
kind of one person could start a trend. If you go on Facebook and you see somebody shaming another mom, you're going to see a lot of people under that thread just following that person. People need to be their own person, have their own thoughts, and not try and follow the leader.
Sure.
Just everyone is different. Just be more supportive, and especially if you're a mom, we all need to support one another and uplift one another. So if you see a mom shaming another mom, just be that person that doesn't join in on the shaming. Just say, hey, we're all moms here. Let's just uplift her and help this person out.
Yeah, I totally agree. Okay, I'm going to stir the pot just a little bit more on breastfeeding real quick. Speaking of breastfeeding in public, what about someone who's breastfeeding and the child is beyond the 6th month? And I say that because I breastfed. Yes, or however far you think. So I want to talk about the weaning, because I was lucky enough for my first to wean herself at 6 months.
Oh, wow.
I didn't have to deal with that. My second one, I put on the bottle at 3 months, right? So I didn't have to deal with that. But I know that there are moms that decide to do the natural weaning, which for some children could mean they're 3. And so then you see the situation where there's this toddler attached to their mom, which for some maybe something that makes them uncomfortable. So what are your thoughts on that?
So standard's 2 years, right?
Could be.
Standard is 2 years. They recommend at least 6 months of nursing. And so it is kind of odd when you see a running, like a toddler like this high, like nursing from the breast. I will say it does seem a little bit odd. Do I have an opinion on it? I honestly, and I hate saying that I do, but I do think that that's kind of odd to have a 4-year-old nursing from your breast. I think that at this point they're already eating foods that are giving them enough nutrients to be a human being, that they don't need mother's breast anymore. So I don't know what the long-term complications of having an attached child like that. I personally couldn't do it myself.
But do you think that the mom has some type of comfort in doing it, which is why she's doing it for so long?
I think she has a comfort that the child is feeling comfortable. And I think that weaning process is taking long, because I know friends who have kids who would not sleep until they are breastfed. I mean, there's no milk coming, but it's just that the attachment.
It's just the process.
Yes, the
it was
process.
kind of their comfort process.
Yeah, so they're, I mean, instead of reading that storybook, it's more like,
let's suck on mommy's neck.
That's the same with bottle feeding as well. It's a lot of people that bottle feed. I feel like it should go for about a year.
Same thing with bottle feeding.
Yeah, but it has that comfort. A bottle at night will put the baby to sleep, just like breastfeeding at night will put the baby to sleep.
And we're talking all about, I'm noticing a theme here, it comes down to sleep. So it's right, which is a whole other conversation, sleep-deprived parents. But perhaps that maybe just the whole process of nursing seems to be this comforting that is the weaning that needs to happen, regardless of how you use it, whether it's to put a child to sleep, if it's bottle feeding, if it's breastfeeding. But it comes down to maybe trying to find that next step, right, for that child, and not only for the child, but probably for the parent.
Yeah,
you had mentioned that maybe the parents possibly some of the reason to keep the child breastfeeding that long, even though they are walking and talking and eating solid foods, maybe more of like a sign of like some kind of bonding.
Yeah.
You know, for the
Bonding,
parent
and also
itself.
that comfort level. Yes, I know he will sleep. If he sleeps, I will get rest. So yes.
And life will
Let it be.
continue to move
Let
forward
it be,
successfully.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
And maybe I feel like some moms are not ready to let go. They figure, oh, okay, he's not going to be my little baby anymore if I'm not feeding him,
Are you sure?
you know, breastfeeding him. So maybe they just don't want to let go of that bond that they have or that
It's the apron
attachment.
string.
Yeah, or maybe it's
Or
their
the first
last
one.
child and they're just really trying to hold on, or their first child and they're overdoing it. But
Yeah.
but
I
you just
think,
really
yeah.
never know.
Yeah.
Just like let's go back to every mom is different, every situation is different. We really don't know. We really can't judge.